And then, of course, as it's just like everything else, you know. They were here first, naturally. It's just like kids when they find something, and they find it, and they have it, and then somebody comes along and wants it, and they say, no, I found it first, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why I guess they resent it, you know. But then, as he says, it sort of started to get, you know, everybody got together, and then was one happy family. That's all. And, you know, it wasn't too bad after a while. They sort of got used to the idea. But in the beginning, it was a little tough. But it's just like everything else. Now my meatballs are in. I shall put my cover on and forget about it. That's it.
Your father, what he was doing, where he came from, what the town was and all that?
My father came from Police in Sicily, and through town in Sicily. And when he was a little boy, about 6 or 7 years old, his mother had died. And his father remarried. And somehow or another, I don't know what happened, but he didn't want to stay there. And some men took him in. He had a farm, he had goats and things like that. Mm-hmm. And he would work for this man. As he grew up, he would work for this man. At 19 years old, he was coming to this country. This man didn't want him to come over here. This man wanted him to marry one of his daughters. This man had 3 daughters, no sons. Mm-hmm. And he says he would give him anything he wanted. But my father says, no, I'm going to America. So he came away, he was about 19 years old. And
around what year was that, like around?
Well, I would say 1901, something like that. He started to work as a laborer. When he was 21 years old, he decided that he wanted to get married, and he went to my mother, and he married her. And he got married right here in the old St. Patrick's Church, the old cathedral. Uh-huh. During the World War I, he wanted to work on ships. Yeah. And when they had him down a hull there, they were working on the ships way down. After the times, they wouldn't even let them come up because they figured if these people come up, they would go away because they wouldn't want to work under those conditions. They kept them there for a week or so. They used to give them food and everything else, but after a week or so, they used to make them come up and go out. And he finally wanted to work for the New York Steam, and as he worked for the New York Steam, without an education, he had 100 people working for him.
What was New York Steam?
New York Steam consists of Con Edison today. They took it over.
I see.
Con Edison.
And what kind, did he go into business or anything?
I'd say about 8, 9, or 10 businesses, all in fruit and vegetables, and every one of them he put up, he lost money on them. He always didn't make out. But he kept trying. And day comes up, he says, I bought the grocery store downstairs. We were all furious. We don't want him to get into business, but he got into business. And the New York Steam people came over to him. They wanted him back again. He wouldn't go back. He says, no, I got my own business, and that's it. Because my father was the type of a man, he wanted to be in business. He always told me, anytime you're in business, you can owe all the money in the world, but you always got money in your pocket when you're in business. And you can always support, you know, a family. You got money. The bills, you paid them as they came along. Finally, after so many years, he lost it too. And he lost it just at the time when the Second World War started. As far as my mother goes, well, she was a strong woman. My father would never get into arguments with anybody. She would face them. My father would always, she would push my father always on the side. She was a very strong woman, even with us, with the children. And she had to say something, she told you, and that was it. And you couldn't answer her. He was tough.
When did she come over? And what kind of boat trip? I mean, you know.
Oh, she had
tell us a little about that.
Bad.
When she came over.
When she came over, she says she almost died on a trip there. The boats were small, were very small. But they came. It took her over a month to get over here by boat. Like our mother, the same thing. They came over here. The boats were, the waves. They thought they'd never make it. And they came over here. Her mother then came over here years ago, but I don't remember her. Yeah. And she died. You know, and all that. My mother was she was a real whip. Because I remember, as a little boy, we used to have in 241 we had 2 boarders. We had, you know, what the room. 2 boarders. I mean, people that lived with us.
Yeah.
In the kitchen. Where you see the kitchen, used to be a bedroom.
Yeah, but they used to pay?
Oh, yeah. My mother used to cook for them, wash their clothes, and used to pay.
So how many people were in the rooms?
There was 2 boarders, me, my father, I was born as Rosie, Mo, me, Mikey, and Joey and Fan. We were 7, and 2 was 9.
How many rooms?
Oh, there's the kitchen, 4 rooms. That's all, 4 small rooms. There was no such thing as elaborate rooms. You know what that was? You had no furniture then. You had the beds.
Bed and chair.
In the daytime, you pick them up and you had the room. And at nighttime, you fold them down and then you go to sleep. Oh, I think it was. I think it was.
It was. That's what
And,
they had. Table and chairs.
And my mother, I remember my mother scrubbing them floors, wooden floors, on her
No
knees.
carpet.
No carpets, wooden floors with a brush, an iron brush, in a hallway and in the house. Used to make those floors sparkle, wooden floors. Today they got so soft, they got a washing machine, they got this, they got that.
So jealous.
And there was, and they never cried, you know, that they would say they were tired. There was no such thing as being tired. And besides that, they used to say she used to sew pants.
My father was always a scaffold maker.
What is
Scaffold. The board that's outside of the building
When they
that
built
they
the
stand
building, they
on.
put the scaffolds meant to
Well,
go around, as it, you know, to put up bricks and
Well, he
things
was
like
always a scaffold maker.
scaffoldman.
So of course it was hard to get work here. So wherever they could get work, they would go out.
Go out of town for months.
And I remember
months.
him going to Springfield, New Jersey.
And that was
Monday
like
morning.
for me to.
He would leave on a Monday morning.
In Springfield, New Jersey, he would go there to go to work.
Yeah, to go to work.
Yeah.
Would go away Monday morning and come back Friday night.
Yeah.
For $45 a week. Now
At that time, it was
supporting
big
9
money.
children.
That was big money.
So one night, my father had handlebars.
Mhm.
So one night, on a Friday night, there was a knock at the door. So we were children. We opened the door, and all of a sudden we ran back and we're pulling on to my mother. What's the matter? She says. I says, there's a man at the door. It was my father. He shaved off his handlebars.
Yeah, they didn't
And
know.
we didn't recognize him, and we were
My
crying.
father put the same thing.
And you know, it was, he used to get a big charge out of it. He loved to do that. He used to get a big charge out of things like that.
The years ago, they didn't have such things as sellers used to buy this grape and squeeze the juice up in a room there and put the barrels in one of the bedrooms, in the part of the bedroom, and make the wine ferment.
You mean they used to make wine where?
In the house. In the rooms with the borders and all. We used to make the wine, put 2 or 3 barrels, make it ferment, and we used to get some wine out of it. Very good. And at times we used to, the smell of that wine used to get us at nighttime. You know what wine is when it smells, it starts to ferment. A lot of people used to do that because they used to make their own wine. It was cheaper to them. They couldn't go and buy wine, or at that time they didn't have gallons of wine like they got today from California or things like that. So they used to make their own wine. And it was pretty good wine too. The only thing was that they didn't have the facilities of cleaning it up the way they should have. Go ahead.
Oh, my father made it too, but we were a little richer than you. We put ours down the cellar.
Yeah. What about when your father made the wine for my father? I'm not going to say how many barrels. But when he made the wine for my father, and then your father he got
Getting
paid.
dirty now.
And then he says to him, all right, pick one of your own barrels for yourself. The whole thing was vinegar. Every barrel. Everything was vinegar.
Are you insinuating my father know how to
No,
make wine?
it wasn't that your father didn't know how to make wine. There was something with the grape. It was
That's
kind
different.
of wet.
But don't you
Money, what'd you do to
insinuate?
your tooth? You broke it?
What tooth? This?
You're not supposed to talk.
What?
He's putting that in it too. Which do your tooth?
Which tooth?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, that.
shorter. It's short. How come?
Oh.
The other side. That, right there.
This one?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's
You
short.
better get it fixed up. You
Well, isn't
better-
that something he brings in the
It
tooth?
looks like hell.
It even looks like hell. That's it.
It's
That's
not
the tooth.
long enough.
No,
It's
it's
shorter,
not long enough.
much
You'll
shorter
see
than
for
the others.
yourself. Get it fixed.
I think the beard did that.
Yeah, it brings it out.
That's it.
But with the vinegar in itself,
You
with
make
the vinegar
money, I
itself,
tell 'em.
they got money because good vinegar was
They sold it as
much
vinegar.
more profitable than wine. Good vinegar.
So you could just imagine what it looked like, you know. In the kitchen, all this box of grapes piled up. Then, of course, he used to pick it out, you know, take it, bring it downstairs, and he used to put it in this barrel that was sawed in half, put on a pair of black boots, and start mashing it, running, you know, walking around in the grape. And then, of course, when it was mashed very, very good, he would take it out and put it in this, in
barrel.
Italian we say,
No.
stringiture, to strain it real tight.
Okay, you're wrong.